G'day and welcome to my garage.
Here I have the collection of patterns that had to be made to make the Gingery milling machine. I'll start with the patterns that weren't part of the actual milling machine, but I still needed to make the tool to achieve making the mill. So first off, over here is the faceplate for the lathe. Then we have the split pattern for the sand rammer. That sand rammer, well, the pattern is good, but the sand rammer is great to use. It's a good weight. You don't have to work hard to use it. It was well worth making that pattern. This is the pattern. These are taped up so I don't lose it. But this is the pattern for the fly cutter, the steady rest pattern, and the 6-inch V-pulley split pattern. So now let's go on to the mill itself. So first off, we'll do these roughly in order. Okay, first off is the stands, then the main bed itself, the carriage or the saddle. This is the lead screw support for the Y travel. Then we have the spindle head assembly here. That is the spindle head slide with its modified bearing cap, and the screw support for the slide. Let's see, 5 of these handles get made. This is the screw support for the X travel screw. Then let's see, these two little fellows are for the primary primary 4-stage belt drive. They allow the handle connects onto those, and then there's a bearing in that face. Here we have the quill support. This was the original quill support coat piece block, but I changed it for that one because 2 reasons. One, I put a half a dowel on this one to Gingery's size, and then realised 2 problems. I did cast this up, and this was a casting. It was quite good actually, very nice casting. Bit of shrinkage in the back there. Yeah, bit of shrinkage in the back there, lost a corner there, and a slight amount of, I thought there was shrinkage in that. No, there isn't. Very nice casting. But I realised by the time the bushings that I've got get fitted into this, excuse me, because this was too small, I would have not enough meat at the top here, hence the oh, hang on, which one is that one? That is the main spindle. why did I cast? Oh, I cast this because yes, the rod was too small, and when I put the proper size rod onto this block, I had very little room here to put the bolts through. So I made it wider and more meat around the bolt areas. So that was made to the book, but I used my bushings were bigger than what the book says, so that was used. But I didn't cast it. I casted it after I found that problem. That aluminium block was for the main spindle. This one here. That's a bearing cap. I didn't use it because once my bushings were put into this, there was very little meat here, so I had to make another cap, bearing cap, with another cap on top, a smaller cap on top of that main cap, to get a nice heavy bushing or bearing. So toss that over there. These are the pillow blocks. These components are part of the transmission assembly. So these are the homemade pillow blocks, quill support. That there got you to the stage of being able to start generally machining things. So next comes the universal compound slide, and there's something missing. Or is there? This slide mechanism. That's right. Yes. So this is a universal compound slide, screw support, and they went on there to give you a T-nut. Yes, that was for the tool rest. Those two strips into those holes, and then the tool that allows you to fit the tool rest line, make a T-slot so you can fit a tool rest, and the screw support. That was the universal compound slide. Then came the tail stop, or tail stand. Actually goes that way. That was the bushing support on the front of it. This, that's right. Then we recycled the pattern for the universal compound slide and used it to make a slide for the tail stand, which then had that block as part of the casting for this to sit on a slide, actually a little bit off up here somewhere. So that's the tail stand. And then, well, before the tail stand was the angle plate was made first, because it got machined on the temporary work table. Then the plinth or the stand for the permanent work table came along. I extended this, it's in the videos, I extended this to give me more strength on the last 4 inches or so of the 19-inch work table. Just strengthened it up a lot. Made a big difference over the temporary work table. Well, the whole thing made a big difference over the temporary work table. So that's all of the components for the Gingery milling machine. Now I've done a count. There was 29 individual patterns. I had to make 31 castings, and then 9 other castings for these first components I talked about. So there we go, 31 castings plus that's 40 castings I had to do. But that's good. Now, just quickly, so not a mistake as far as the book's concerned, but this was going to be too thin, so it was a mistake in that the bushings I bought were a lot bigger than Gingery's. So there's one aluminium piece, no good. This one, I'm still trying to remember why. Oh, it was all part of this tunnel business. That tunnel was too small. Yep, that's that one. The tunnel was too small. That was not a bad casting, a little bit of a shrinkage there. This one had the shrinkage here, a little bit, but it wouldn't have interfered with the bushings. The bushings were up to the ends. So that was a good casting, but the tunnel was the wrong size. What else? Oh, yeah, this was the main spindle slide. Ran out of aluminium. Didn't have enough. And then this was one piece I used a bit out of it. Very poor casting of a faceplate, rough as it's like sand on top, and on the other side I think it was far too wet. Not enough to cause the moisture to overheat and explode and create pockets like these. That was another faceplate. Again, I think too wet. So really, out of those 40 castings, that's including the faceplate, so about 42 castings because I've got 43 castings because I've got two of these no good. That's 1, 2, not enough metal, 3, 4 and 5. And at 4 and 5 was only a failure because I didn't check my bushing sizes. As far as casting it goes, I still could have used them. So there's 5 failures over there for the whole project of, what did I say, 40 castings. So that's it. I'll come back with some statistics on nuts, bolts, how many holes I had to drill, how many holes I had to tap. There was a couple hundred. But I'll get that information and I'll throw that in also. G'day, I just need to jump in and make a small announcement. A little while back I started to make the video for this summary, and during that process I made a couple of small mistakes, and I'll correct those on screen in the caption section down the bottom. But the main one, and the reason why I went back to check my counts of the bolt holes, I thought to myself, 465, that's got to be wrong. Couldn't be that many holes. Now I'm talking about drilling holes. No, I didn't count any pre-drilling or pilot holes or anything like that. So no step drilling was counted in, just the hole itself. So one hole is one hole is one hole. It's not two small holes and you get the third one. So my count is one hole, one count. 465. I thought that's a bit ridiculous. So I got the book out, I sat down with my computer, set out a spreadsheet, and well, I already had a spreadsheet. I made it. I expanded it to cover different parts because this carriage alone has 42 holes in it. In it, and also the plates that clamp to it. So that, you know, you may consider one hole, like this one here. That one hole. No, it's not two. It's not one hole. It's two holes. One hole in the aluminium screw support, and one hole threaded in the ways. So the actual count was 490 holes, and that's not including any extra bits and pieces. That's just the mill alone. Like I made five separate punch and die sets to punch out the aluminium shims. Didn't count any of those holes. Number of other things I had to, small things I had to make. So, like I said, I will make the correction during the video, through the video as it follows. That's all I've got for now. So let's continue on with the video. Catch you later. Bye. You may notice that I'm employing a FM microphone. That's because you were losing volume as I turned away from the camera, and I'm using a different camera. I've managed to secure a Nikon 5P520. It's an older SLR digital camera and video recorder. I got it off my daughter. She bought it a few years ago for when she was doing her trips. Where'd she go? South America, Europe. Anyhow, she doesn't use the camera anymore. She was over the other day and said I could have her old Nikon, so I notice her picture quality is better, and let's hope the rest of it's better. So back to the Gingery milling machine statistics. Now, you will need to drill about 465 holes. Of those 465, 217 will be threaded, tapped. You'll require 220 screws or bolts. I used all of my 50 and plus a little bit more. I bought a bag of 50 M5 by 20 countersunk hex drive screws. I've gone through all of those. And it's amazing where 220 bolts go on this machine. But remember, that also includes the universal compound slide and the quill support and the tail stand. So 220 volts, 11 slots, 26 homemade cold rivets. If you recall watching through my videos, I did a separate video on the cold rivets also. I just used household builder's nails, cut them to length and pounded them with a small hammer and cleaned them over. And they're mostly in here in the transmission. They work quite well. I was very pleased with that. To assist in making the shims, there's a number of areas, places that require shimming, as in the two places on the saddle, on the X and the Y. The main spindle is also shimmed. The universal compound slide and the tail stand have slides, so they require shimming also. So I made 5 different punch and dies for that. So, all up in video recording, I have over 800 video clips, like the one you are seeing now. So 800 raw video clips that are then edited, cut, pasted, or whatever you do to them, split them, delete. So there's 800 of those. Currently, at the time of recording this, I'm on to YouTube video 73. YouTube videos have not caught up with me. I'm ahead of the YouTube. So there will probably 73, probably around 80 videos for this whole build process. It's quite a few, 80 videos. Presently there is a little bit over 30 hours of edited YouTube viewing. So there's a lot of hours, a lot of videoing, a lot of editing. That's probably the hardest. Yeah, well, it is hard, deciding what to keep in and what to cut out, keeping it down to a reasonable time. I try not to go too far over 30 minutes. A couple of times I've been under 30 minutes. But my very first videos were 12 minutes, but they weren't even edited. That was 12 minutes straight. Had to do them a couple of times to get the right one, but I thought there's got to be an easier way than to be coherent over a 10-12 minute spiel without any notes. If you notice, I was using notes for those figures. Yes, the first 3 or 4 videos, 5 videos were straight off the camera, unedited. If I did that, there wouldn't be 800 video clips, I tell you. There'd be 73 of them. So that's the statistics. So if you're interested in building the Gingery milling machine, I have now swamped YouTube for, if you search for Gingery milling machine. My plan wasn't to swamp YouTube search engines, but hey, that's what happens when you've got 73 videos out there and counting. The build's been very interesting. I've learnt a lot from this build. I hope you've learnt a lot from the build. I'm glad that you've stuck there with me. Some have been there from the very start. One recently binge watched my videos to catch up with me over a 2 or 3 week period.
30, what did I say, 37 hours or something. I have to put my glasses back on. Over 30 hours of YouTube viewing. That's a lot of viewing. Get a life, Lance. Only joking, Lance. But yes, I've enjoyed this series. It's been great. What will I do next? I would say I'm very interested in the 4-jaw independent chuck. I'd have to do slight modifications because Gingery's is designed around his 5/8 spindle, which I have a mini lathe that doesn't have a 5/8 spindle. It's got an MT3 spindle, and it has a 3-bolt mount, 80mm chuck, or the flange for a 3-bolt mount 80mm chuck. So I'll have to make it so that the 4-jaw chuck can go straight to that spindle flange. Anyhow, that just means I don't cast it with the 20mm, 25mm protrusion out the back. I'll just leave it flat on the back, probably just put a 6mm plate in, drill it, tap it, and then mount that to the back casting of what am I making? 4-jaw chuck. Anyhow, I'd like to make a 4-jaw chuck next. After that, the Gingery dividing head. I've got a 50-to-1 worm wheel drive. I think it's from an agricultural sprinkler system that was kindly donated to me by Joe. Thanks very much, Joe. Yeah, I will use that expensive. I don't know how much you paid for it, but I know how much you paid for shipping to Australia. Don't do it. Don't send anything but money or no, I'm not asking for money. I don't intend this to be a money channel. Maybe later on when I'm on a pension and running out of self-funded retiree funds, I might. But yeah, unless I'm desperate for money, I won't ask anyone for money. Not that many out there that give me money anyhow. Not with this bald head. But yeah, it's expensive to send something to Australia from anywhere in the world. Mind you, if you're buying from China, they seem to send very cheaply to Australia. I don't know how that postage works from China. Whether the government picks up the postage, I don't know. I don't know. But how can you can get things out of China cheaper than what it is to mail that item in Australia from one capital city to the next. So even then, so they send something through their mail system, comes to Australia, and then it goes through the Australian Aussie Post, Australia Post. Yeah, like I said, you can get these items cheaper than what it would be to mail it within Australia, and it comes from China, and you're buying something $3.85 or something. It cost you mail's $1. Just to send a love letter to your girlfriend cost you $1. Don't know how they do it. Anyhow, I've enjoyed this build, this trip, this videoing. I hope you have. I hope you have learned something out of it and put it to good stead. God bless. See you later.